Hi there, this is John Ferrar, and welcome to an Encore presentation of our Legacy Business Spotlight. These are best done in person, and with the current state of emergency restrictions, that's just not possible. So we will be re-releasing our past episodes every Saturday at noon until this pandemic is in our collective rearview mirror. Until then, enjoy this Encore presentation of our Legacy Business Spotlight.
Some businesses succeed. Some don't. Then there are those that seem to have been around forever. The true entrepreneurial success story. How did they do it? What was their vision? What makes a success? In this special episode for Eye on Annapolis, we speak with the true success stories. Those business owners that have been around for decades. Learn from their successes and failures. Now, here's host John Ferrar.
I've never been in the back of this store. I'm always in the front store. I'm at Bay Ridge Wine and Spirits here with the owner, David Marberger, who is generously coming on to our Legacy Business Series to talk about Bay Ridge Wine, who's been here forever in Annapolis, it seems. And welcome and thank you very much.
Oh, you're certainly welcome. It's my pleasure.
And man, well, Bay Ridge Wine and Spirits, how did it start? Where did we get the start from this?
So my father-in-law, Chuck Ferrar, bought the business in 1991. It was an existing business, so he didn't start it.
Was it in this location?
It was actually, when he bought it, yes, it was in this same exact location that we're sitting in now. Previously, it had moved a couple times in this shopping center, but when we bought it, we were in this exact location. And the rest is history, so to speak. He opened it in 91. I came up and joined him in 94. Been here ever since.
You've got a background in hotel management, right? Hotel and
restaurants is really where I cut my teeth. I worked for the Harrison Group in Ocean City for about 10 years.
And that probably really translates pretty well into what you're doing here.
If you're referring to hard work, the daily grind, doing whatever it takes, then yes, it translates perfectly.
That's all about a small business, and it's all about the life of a business owner for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Now, you guys have really grown over the years. I mean, you have become a staple in the booze and the beer and the wine and the spirits industry here in Annapolis. You've got one of the largest selection of any competitors in the area. You've been around a long time. You expanded. And I remember when I first moved down here, I used to go eat Chinese food at the buffet next door to you guys. You expanded out a couple of years when you were growing, right?
Yeah, so like I said, we bought it in 91, and then I think it was 97 when what used to be Total Craft, which was in this shopping center, they moved out. So West Marine, who has always been our neighbor since we've owned the business, they moved over to the space where Total Craft had occupied, and then we moved over into the space that West Marine had occupied. So we left our original space in 109, moved over into 111, and then 10 years later, the lease was not renewed with the China Buffet, and at that point there had been some changes in the way the law read for alcoholic beverages, how they were purchased, meaning there were quantity discounts. So our inventory had to increase due to the way we then had to buy our products, so we needed more space for storage. Once the lease was not renewed with the China Buffet, we took over the space that we're now sitting in at 109. We took that back over, going back to where we had originally started. Right. So we went from 10,000 square feet to 14,000 square feet. But we did it because we needed the space. We needed the storage space.
Right. Well, I will say, and for those that aren't aware, Bay Ridge Wine and Spirits is in the Bay Ridge Shopping Center. Is that what it's called?
It is the Bay Ridge Plaza, yes.
The Bay Ridge Plaza, which is home of the Smokehouse, Grump's Cafe. I'm just thinking of the ones directly across the street from Quiet Waters Park.
Yep. That's the easiest way to describe it, directly across the street from Quiet Waters Park.
Plenty of free parking and lots of floor space, lots of beer, wine, and spirits as well. One thing I really like about the expansion room over into what used to be the restaurant is that you do some tastings and whatnot there. Wine tastings and spirit tastings and beer tastings. I know I've been for a couple events that have been here.
Yeah, so we, day in and day out, we have some wine tasting machines over there, what we call our tasting station, where we allow you to try the different wines that we have situated in the machines or in the terminals. And you can try them before you buy them. And we rotate that menu, so to speak. We try to rotate it out every month. And it's just a different lineup. We try to put products in there that people just might not have had before. In the world of wine in particular, there's so much good liquid out there in the market, and it's just mind-blowing. We could replace every bottle on the shelf every month for a year straight and still not even touch what's available for us to buy. It's just amazing. So we use a tasting station for that. But yes, we also do events. We have a champagne campaign, a War of the Rosés, where we open up copious amounts of either champagne, sparkling wine, Prosecco, whatever it is, or not all, but a lot of the bottles of rosé or different types of rosés that we carry. And we pack them in for that. I mean, it's a great opportunity to truly try before you buy, but we will also use that space for winemakers. When we get a heads up that a winemaker's coming into town, we do a tasting in there, and we'll taste the portfolio of the winemaker or a distiller or a brewer, whatever the case may be. We've used it for, I shouldn't say we use it, but organizations have used it for fundraisers. I mean, it's a multi-purpose space.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about, you mentioned fundraisers and organizations. I mean, you guys are obviously a staid business in the town, but you're also really a part of the fabric of Annapolis. And I mean, you're giving back, you're here, you're just a part of the community. I mean, we can even throw it back to Chuck, who had bought the business. I mean, he was a county councilman for Anne Arundel County at one point. So, I mean, there's a pretty deep roots of community service with Bay Ridge Wine and Spirits and you guys.
Yeah, so thank you for the compliment. We have grown immensely since we've been in business, but we've done that because the community has really embraced us, and we've tried to embrace the community at the same time. And you have to say thank you in some way, shape, or form. We try to give back whenever and wherever we can. We try to be diverse in where we give back to monetarily. We try to spread the love, so to speak.
I noticed I didn't get a donation to the John's Kids College Fund.
Yeah. Just submit your application and we'll put it in the file, John. We'll make it work one way or another. We've been blessed. We've been very lucky, and we appreciate it very, very much. We're very, very fortunate.
Well, I know, and you guys are out and about, and I didn't realize this until actually after Twist and Stout. You guys have supplied a lot of the wine and the beer with the Twist and Stout, which is Anne Arundel County's wine and beer festival that is held at Quiet Waters Park in end of September, beginning of October.
Late September,
what it is. And I didn't realize that you guys have a whole separate, I guess, a catering division, if you will, for lack of a better word.
Well, yeah, that's what we refer to it as ourselves, and it's kind of a misnomer because we don't really cater. We don't supply food, we don't produce food here, but we work with a tremendous amount of caterers in the Annapolis community. Then they will call us and say, hey, I've got a wedding for 150 people, 4 hours. I need a simple open bar. Put me together something. Boom, done. Or the caterer will send their bride and groom or their corporation that they're doing the party with. They'll send the customers into us. We sit down with them and we go over all the facts, figures, numbers, and it all depends on what the customer is interested in. If they want to do a simple open bar for the least amount of money possible, we've got you covered. If they want to, if the sky's the limit, we do it that way too.
For a bride or a groom, this is sort of something fascinating to me, but if they were, and you guys do delivery. I know that I've seen you guys making deliveries to my neighbors.
Yes.
Which is wonderful. And what's your delivery area? Is it mostly through the Annapolis area, or is it wherever?
Yeah, it's primarily within, let's say, a 5-mile radius. Okay. I mean, and I hate to put a number on it or a geographical location, but we service our customers, the majority of which are here in the city of Annapolis.
And I'm presuming that you guys, with your catering division, can estimate the consumption of booze based on crowd size.
Without a doubt.
And whatnot. I know, like, when food caterers go, they can say, okay, well, we're going to have, like, 12 chickens and 13 steaks and 1 fish. And
Well, the good thing is when we work directly with our customers or even with the caterer, if there's product left over that's in resellable condition, we take it back when we can. And therefore, the customer is only paying for what they actually use.
Wow.
So, if we send out $5,000, and that's a greatly exaggerated number, but if we send out $5,000 worth of beer, wine, liquor, ice, sodas, mixers to a party, and they drink $700 worth, then they bring back the other $4,300, and everyone's happy.
It's all good. Just run a credit to the card.
Yeah.
And off you go. Your tastings, you have them scheduled every week.
Correct.
Where people can come in. This is Thursdays and Fridays.
Primarily, yes. I'm sorry, Fridays and Saturdays, but it really depends on the time of the year. We try to fit as many in as we can. Like I said, we do have a tasting bar where we have our wine machine set up, but underneath that bar we have vodka, gin, rum, bourbon, scotch, tequila. We have several open bottles of many different brands and varieties. So if it's a Tuesday afternoon and you want to find out what tequilas fit your fancy, come on in and we'll let you taste what we have open.
That's great.
Guaranteed you'll find something.
It's funny. I was talking to Joe McGovern from Stan & Joe's a little bit ago, and we were sort of lamenting the times when he was active behind the bar. I tended the bar too, and we were screwdrivers and fuzzy enables, and maybe a Bloody Mary would be as complicated as it gets. So as I stroll through the aisles of beverage, wine, and spirits, I look at all the different flavored spirits. I'm going, oh my gosh, I would be like toast.
It's funny is we see, and if we're extremely lucky, we can get ahead of some of the curves in regard to trends and what's going to be new and popular. You gauge what you have on the shelf to try to fit a lot of that. But there are also a lot of staples that you have to have, and that's kind of where we've always set ourselves out to be is, we want to be the best stock store that's out there. So there are a lot of products that we've had on the shelves for quite some time, and you only buy a bottle or two at a time because you're only selling, a half dozen, maybe 12 bottles if you're lucky throughout the entire year. But over the past 5-10 years, we've seen a lot of those 12-bottle-a-year products starting to really trend up. I mean, I look at things like Campari or Aperol, where we would sell, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 cases a year, and they're 6-pack cases. So that's somewhere between 24 and 30 bottles. And now we're selling 4 cases a month.
Oh, wow.
It's dazzling. So the days of the basic, vodka cranberry or screwdriver, they're gone. What the on-premise or what the bars and the restaurants are doing nowadays, which that's really where that's the battle lines of these cocktails. A lot of people then come back to us and they'll say, well, I had this or I had that, or, what ingredients can I get? And they're compiling. They come to us almost like a grocery store now, and they're
their list.
Here's my ingredient list for this drink that I had that was absolutely wonderful. Can you help me find this stuff? And sure, it's fantastic.
They never taste as good as they taste at the bar.
Well, that's part of it. I mean, I had this great bottle in Italy when we were there, and I could get them the same exact bottle, but they're not sitting in the same location.
Air in Italy that changes it out there. That's fun. As I walk through the store, it seems to be pretty divided between booze, beer, and wine. To me, at least it looks about a third. Is any one bigger than the other? Are you pretty much equal?
Well, so there are some shifting sands right now in the industry. For us here specifically, wine comprises the largest component of our 3 distinct categories. Spirits is certainly on the uptick. Beer has been on a slight decline. Beer and spirits for us have always been roughly 25 to 27% each, and then wine makes up the difference. But because of what I just described with the bartenders and the cocktails and what's going on premise, a lot of the spirits are just seeing huge increases. Of course, the bourbon boom. Everyone's flocking to that category, but a rising tide raises all boats. So a lot of that's transcending over into either Irish whiskey, Scotch, tequila is a big and popular category now. Brandy, cognac, rum. We sell a lot of high-quality rum.
It's funny to see that because, I know that Galway Bay has opened up their whiskey bar, which has so many different whiskeys that are there, and you look at what the beer has done. The craft beer is sort of came on like this bull in a china shop. 10 years ago, it was sort of unheard of. Sam Adams was like sort of the newcomer. Well, it wasn't 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was a little bit longer ago than that.
Okay, I'm showing my age, but it was basically Budweiser and Miller and so on and so forth. But now the beer companies are into the seltzers, and they're. It's amazing how it is changing.
The seltzer category is something to watch. It's amazing. At a 2-week period, the week leading up to and I think the week after 4th of July, the single brand of White Claw, if you looked at all their total sales around the entire country, just the White Claw brand, it outsold all craft beer. That's amazing.
That is.
That is dumbfounding. And that type of scenario doesn't play out that often in our industry. You'd have to look back, and I'm probably missing another example or two, but you look at White Zinfandel, what it did when it was first introduced to the market. It was a phenomenon, and that's really the best way to describe it. It alters the industry. It alters the consumer. It alters everything that we do to some degree for many years to come. I mean, those people that started drinking White Zinfandel when it was first introduced are now drinking Pinot Noir, Merlot, Cabernet, or, they're drinking white Burgundies or white Bordeauxs and or wine from anywhere else. I mean, they've spread their wings into so many other things. It's just the entrance. And I think that what we've seen with these seltzer waters is the same thing. You're getting people that are drinking those that might not particularly care for any other type of alcohol or alcoholic beverage, adult beverage, as we like to call it. But where will those people be 5-10 years from now? It's interesting to watch, and you can't steer it. It takes on its own inertia, and you just have to wait and see where it goes. But it's interesting to see.
We need to revisit this in a decade.
I'll tell you, it's certainly an interesting phenomenon.
David, one of the things that you do that amazes me, because I laugh every time I drive by, it's in September and February, the lines and the people just running out in the parking lot with shopping carts just brimming with bottles.
Yeah.
And this is your customer appreciation days. And you have twice a year, and it's what? It's $1 over cost, right?
Correct. So in our industry, and we have friends all over the country, we belong to many trade organizations, and we visit different markets and talk to different people, and we get ideas from them. They get ideas from us, and we do the same thing here in Maryland. So Chuck was actually at a baseball game with the owner of a store up in the Towson-Timonium area, and this owner happened to explain to Chuck how he does this sale. So Chuck came back the next day after the baseball game and said, they heard this great idea. So we duplicated that idea. So it wasn't unique to us, but we started this thing 25 years ago, I think it was, 26, 27 years ago, and it has just ballooned into what it is today, and it's taken on its own life. It is amazing.
There have been times
see.
I've come by here and I'm thinking you're selling like tickets to the next Dead concert or something like that. You've got
Yeah,
people that are
yeah.
just...
Well, when we started this thing, it was truly a way for us to say thank you to our regular customers. I mean, there was no email, there was no social media. It was word of mouth that we were doing a customer appreciation sale, and that's truly what it is. It's a way to say thank you to our customers. Over the years, it's grown into what it is now, which is, we've had 150, 200 people waiting in line at 8:30 in the morning waiting for the doors to open. We had local photographer Tony J come in, and he did a video using a drone, and he was here at 8:59 when the door, or 9 o'clock when the doors opened. And the video and I'll have to find it and rewatch it. It's amazing to watch. But when you see this flow of people that just comes into the door, it's nonstop. Fortunately, it's not. Fortunately, it's not that chaotic. There is some decorum and some social graces that are used, but it is rather amazing to see that. And I'm always dumbfounded by somebody was wheeling 4 shopping carts, 5 shopping carts, or hand carts through the line. It's phenomenal.
Well, it's a great opportunity. I mean, if you're having parties throughout the summer or the winter or whatever, to stock up and
so it is funny because when we do it, so we internally say that the sale in February is for us, the one in September is for the customer, and that's our way of saying. In February, when our business is slow, our business is structured much like a staircase.
The Super Bowl is done. You're in that.
Well, we go from January, February, March, April. So every month that goes by, the business gets a little bit better. But it all starts in January and then February. So February is really an opportunity for us to clear out some inventory, and then we slowly bring back the items that we don't feel as though need to be in here right away, or it gives us an opportunity to clear out stuff that we just don't want to carry anymore and then rebuild. But the one in September is for the customers. That gives them the opportunity to stock up. And I cannot tell you how many times I've had people walk out of here in September after the sale on their way out to their car, and they'll say, I'll see you next year for the next sale. Well, if you have it, you drink it. I would say 80% of those people that give me that comment, I see back in here for Thanksgiving.
Sure.
Because they have it at home, they drink it, and then they're like, well, shoot, now I need to go back and get my...
Now what? they need a Black
So it
Friday
is,
sale.
it is such an interesting thing. But it's, we have a tiger by its tail now, and, we can't change it. We can't alter it. We can't do anything about it. It's just, it is what it is. And it's the single best thing we've ever done to grow our business, without a doubt.
You said that your business rises up and goes. I mean, is it fair to say that April, May through January 2nd is probably your season?
So for us, our best months are kick off with May. That's actually one of our better months, one of our top 4 months. There's a lot of things that go into that. You have the changing of the season. It's warmer outside. People are getting outside. They can do parties.
Naval Academy graduation.
Naval Academy graduation. There's Memorial Day. But you also have a lot of weddings. And as we discussed before, we do a lot of business with caterers. So we have our schedule is jam-packed from mid-April till mid-June. That's really a hotbed of wedding season. But May is a huge month for us. And then, of course, November and December, because you have Thanksgiving. And then you go right into December with the other holidays. But otherwise, it's predictable. You can look. You know about what you're going to do in January, and it gets a little bit better in February, and then a little better in March, and just goes up and up and up.
Do you guys have any plans for expansions? I mean, are you looking at moving any other additional
Oh, God, I don't want to move all these boxes. No, I can't say that there is plans right now to move this store. We're very happy where we are. I think we do what we do very well. The staff here is truly amazing. I can't think of a better group of people. If I ask our staff to move the right-hand side of our store to the left-hand side,
it's done.
It's done. And it's done without complaint. It's done without hesitation, and it's done effectively and efficiently. And then I can come in the next day and say, okay, guys, move it back. And they'll do it. And it's the amount of work we get done in here, in particular, if you think about how many bottles and cases go out of here during the 3 days in September and the 3 days in February, it's amazing. These guys and gals are spectacular.
Well, I will also say that your staff is some of the most knowledgeable that I've ever run into. You're looking for a particular type of a beer or something like that, they're on with that. You've recently got the Growler station. I say that's recently. It's probably about 4 years old now.
Yeah.
Which is something new and unfamiliar to me before they came out. But I mean, that's a 64-ounce bottle.
Yeah, so we do actually growlers and crowlers as well. So, the growlers are 64.
What's a crowler?
The crowler is basically the same thing as a growler, except it's in a can.
Okay.
So instead of filling a 64 or 32-ounce glass bottle with a lid on the top, you're filling a can that we then seal with a traditional beer can top. But we can fill it with whichever product you want that we have on our menu board. The only downside is that we only do one size, which is the 32-ounce crowler. But you buy it, you put it in the cooler, you take it, on your boat, take it to the poolside, take it on your hike, wherever you want to take it. It's much easier to carry. It's less cumbersome than fitting a half-gallon growler in your backpack or cooler. And when you're done, you just throw the can away.
Interesting. Is a crowler something fairly new?
No, I'd say that they've been around for probably, and this is a guess, but maybe 10 years in the industry. Our crowlers, we've had probably 2 years now.
And that's because Maryland's so backwards in their in their liquor laws, or just I know it's
no comment there.
I know it's a confusing.
Look, that's a whole different show, an interview in regard to the laws, the rules, and the regulations. But actually, by getting growlers and crowlers passed through the legislative process in Maryland was actually pretty easy. It was not that difficult. Yeah, it's just an added benefit that we have, and anybody can apply for them and get them.
Right.
So. But it's really cool, and our customers really enjoy them. Our growler business is still strong. I mean, we actually plateaued for a little bit, which we anticipated. And then we added the Growlers, and then the Growlers kind of took some of that business away. But our growler business is still going strong.
Still pretty solid.
Yeah, real strong. But you're getting product available for the growler station. So all the product that we have on our growler station obviously comes in a keg. And a lot of the breweries are putting a lot of their different what are referred to as one-offs or their limited production series. They're only putting it in kegs. So if you want it, you have to get it in a growler, a crowler, or you have to go to the bar and order it as a draft. You won't find it in bottle and can anywhere else. Yeah, so that keeps the excitement going.
Well, it does, yeah. And I mean, as far as the growlers and the crowlers, I mean, do you know what's coming up? Do you know that you're going to have this beer from this brewery in?
Our beer manager plans all that out, and he's got all that figured out.
But the breweries tell you what's coming and
the different
available.
Exactly. We try to utilize the Maryland breweries as much as possible. We want to showcase those guys, and they've been great partners for us, and we have been for them. You're not going to find RAR in Tennessee.
No.
So they want to sell what they can sell as much of it as they can sell, and we want it. So we utilize those guys. But you get some different breweries, whether it's Firestone Walker or Yuengling actually had a Hershey Porter, I believe it was, that was incredibly popular. We're still getting phone calls on that.
Joe McGovern told me he tasted that. He said it was the Yuengling and Hershey, two of the oldest companies in the country.
Yeah. And it made perfect sense.
And it was just...
I mean, they're neighbors.
Yeah, he said it was great.
Yeah, and I think we had, I don't know how many of the 6 barrels that we actually got of that, but we could have tripled or quadrupled whatever we purchased, and we'd still be able to sell it for the next 2 months. I wish we had bought more, but, that's the way it goes. Yeah, exactly.
David, what's your flavor of choice? Are you a beer, a wine, or a spirits guy?
Yes, and yes. I drink whatever's in the glass in front of me. I probably drink more bourbon than anything, and I was drinking bourbon long before the whole boom started, when there was really only about a dozen and a half, 2 dozen selections on the shelf. But I like my bourbon with 1 ice cube in it, and there's so many good bourbons out there. But we travel to Sonoma and Napa or Oregon, Willamette Valley. We're all over the place, and I drink everything. I mean, it's what we do, so you have to taste everything, and everything has its time and place for me. If I'm sitting down with a nice meal, I want a glass of wine. I don't care whether it's red or white. I just want to enjoy a glass of wine with my food.
It might be a beer.
Yeah, it all depends. Well, I do have a preference, and it is bourbon, but for the most part, there's not a whole lot out there that I won't consume.
A multifaceted guy. Well, I will tell everybody, come on, check out Bay Ridge Wine and Spirits. They're at the
Bay Ridge Plaza.
Bay Ridge Plaza.
Yeah.
Again, right across from Quiet Waters Park. There's plenty of free parking. There are plenty of little grocery carts to pick up your purchases. Test the staff. I would recommend you do that. They're very knowledgeable. They're very helpful and very plentiful. I will say, never hard to find a staff member. And if you can't get here, go to their website, bayridgewine.com.
Correct.
Perhaps the most valuable thing on there that I find is your email list. You will get I don't know whether you get a pop-up or not because I'm on it, but you scroll down and you can sign up to the email list because you do get emails that's got some recommendations for great wines that are here and everything else. You can also join. They've got a frequent flyer club, and it's
we have a discount club, and we send out a wine of the week. We send that email out twice a week, but not only do we feature that wine of the week, but we also have a wine of the month, and then of course there's our tasting schedule and anything else. If we have a winemaker coming into town, or we're doing a dinner, or any of that kind of stuff, it's all in that email. So it's our central hub, if you will.
And that is the best way to keep in touch there.
Yes.
If you're not coming actually into the store.
Yeah.
Well, David Marberger, thank you very much for your time. Congratulations on the growth of the Bay Ridge Wine and Spirits. It's exciting to see local businesses that have figured out a way to make it work.
Well, like as I told you before, it's we never want to get complacent. We work so hard every day. Our customers are demanding different things every single day. And we have to be able to keep up with that demand. And whether it's, special ordering a bottle or a case of something that we don't normally carry, which is a piece of cake for us, and we're always happy to do it. I've always said, and it's a little cheesy, but if you're not smiling when you walk out the door, then we haven't done our job right. And I mean, it is a little bit cheesy, but I do truly believe that. There are a lot of doors in Annapolis that you can walk through and buy a bottle of alcohol. We appreciate it every time somebody chooses our door to walk through. You know, Annapolis has been fortunate. I mean, you look at what Mills did downtown. They were in the wine business before there really was a wine business, and they spoiled the Annapolis community with great knowledge and service, and the timing. They say timing is everything, and unfortunately for Mills, they were on the downside when we opened up, and we kind of stepped right into the path that they had already started to lay down, and we took it from there. But Mills today is still a great store. Yep. You know, there are a lot of good stores in Annapolis. We always try to be the best.
David Marberger, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this special podcast for Ion Annapolis. Please be sure to visit ionannapolis.net for all your local news, events, and opinions. And in case you haven't already, please subscribe to the Ion Annapolis Daily News Brief, where we bring you your local news direct to your phone or tablet every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Subscribe on iTunes or Google Play.